This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Brian, and my co-host is Kim. And today, Kim doesn't have a clue what this podcast episode is about.
Nothing. I know nothing.
And it's not that big of a deal. I just knew that this one would excite her because she just likes the topic that we're about to talk about, which is about tapping into local organizations for business help. But before we get into it, I want to thank our sponsors, RepairPal, for this episode. RepairPal will introduce your shop to new customers through RepairPal.com, the largest site for auto repair. Learn more at RepairPal.com/shops. So this episode was born out of this morning, actually. If you're on YouTube, Kim's face was like, what is he talking about? But this morning, we went to an event for an organization. It's a local organization called TEDF, which is the Tangipahoa Economic Development Foundation. And I actually used to be on the board of this foundation. And
the president.
Yep, I served in quite a few different roles. I did that for 7 years. It's a 6-year thing, but because of COVID, I got an extra year.
Was it 7 years?
It was 7 years. But the thing is there are these organizations that are out there to help your business. They want to help you with your business. And a lot of you don't even know that these organizations exist. What I want to do in this episode is I want to talk about not just an Economic Development Foundation, but some of the various types of organizations that are out there that you may not know exist that are like they exist to help you. And they're so underutilized and they have so much to offer. When we look at this organization, TEDF, almost every, and I say area because it may not be every city, it may not be every county. And by the way, if I talk about a parish, we're in Louisiana, so a parish is the same exact thing as a county. So if I say parish, it's county that I'm talking about. But you have these economic development foundations. The reason that they exist is to bring new business into the parish or county. They do that because those businesses, they come in and they bring tax revenue, they create jobs. And this is just one of the examples that I'm going to give today. And honestly, an economic development foundation is not a great example for me to give for an auto repair shop because they're typically there to help the larger businesses and help them with things like tax incentives and to get them to create more jobs. And they go after the thing where they're going to get the most bang for their buck, which is usually a larger business. However, I will say that at TEDF, we absolutely worked with many small businesses. And if we weren't able to help them directly, we knew who to connect them to get them the help that they needed. So don't overlook your local economic development foundation. And I will also tell you that personally, I think, that's the only board that I've ever served on because I'm not the board kind of person. Kim's laughing, but yep, my best friend serves on so many different boards. I'll just say I enjoyed working on that economic development foundation. And I would encourage you, to possibly find something like that to get involved with because you will learn so much about local government and, all of the different things in your area by doing that. That's just one of the organizations. Another one that I end up telling people about very often is your local SBDC.
Yep. No planning, no preparation.
Nothing at all. I threw her to the wolves.
He knows that I can y'all, you can throw me a word and I can just talk about it for like an hour. So the SBDC is the Small Business Development Center, and it falls under the SBA, which is Small Business Administration, which is the federal arm, if you will. So your local is your SBDC. And typically they're found affiliated with the local university. So in Louisiana, we have LED, Louisiana Economic Development, and then there's the SBDC that falls under that. And there's multiple locations of it. here where we are, our nearest SBDC is located with my alma mater, Southeastern Louisiana University. And they're all very similar, but they do sometimes offer different things. And so ours actually was the home of our agency. They have an incubator program where they allow you, you're not quite grown up enough yet to go out and have your own physical location, which that wouldn't really apply to an auto repair shop. But for us, we rented space out of their building and we used that for our original office. But they offer all kinds of research and assistance if you're trying to maybe get a loan and you need to work through the paperwork and get your application, your plan, your business plan, and all this stuff together to present to the bank. They will essentially hold your hand through that process and help you put those things together. If you're going to open a new repair shop and you want to do market research to figure out the best physical location in your community of, is this a good place for an auto repair shop? They have, your tax dollars are paying for it. They have tons of resources to help you with your research because we didn't do that and it probably would have helped us. We're just like, oh, that looks like a good building on our driving down the road and not knowing what's the demographics that's within the 3 miles of that shop or what's this neighborhood look like or, so they give you lots of great free information, time to sit down with kind of a local business coach to kind of coach you through some of those things. But ours also offered classes, free classes that you can take where you can go and meet with other business owners. And they teach you everything from the financial part to the marketing part to the sometimes leadership and development. With that, we were often the teacher. We would teach a lot of marketing classes, just like we do in the industry for shops. We did that for the SBDC. We talked about marketing and it got us in front of lots of local business owners. So that they also will sometimes hold events other than teaching a class, but they'll do events where you can go and network and meet other people. So, that's my take on the SBDC without, having time to pin the notes and all that. But that's what I would say about the SBDC. And they're everywhere. They're all over the country. You can totally find one. I would start with probably SBA.gov. I'm thinking is probably the website. You can also just Google SBDC near me, Small Business Development Center near me. But I promise you can find one unless you're like Michael, Crofton, Nebraska, and the nearest place is an hour away or something. I don't know. So just do the research, see what's near you.
Yeah, and even if the nearest place is an hour away, it's well worth making the trip to it. The thing is I had never heard of an SBDC before we moved back to Louisiana. And, we had 10 years in North Carolina, 7 years of that as small business owners. I had never heard of an SBDC until we moved back here. And then, when I did, I found this amazing resource. And then I've told a lot of small business owners about SBDC, and they're like, I've never heard of it. It's an amazing resource when you are starting a business or when you're looking for funding or, trying to create a business plan or any of that kind of stuff. All right. The next one that we're going to talk about is your local downtown development district, or in some places they refer to these as Main Street associations. It's only going to apply to you, like if your business is located within the boundaries of a historic district or a downtown development district or something like that. So, you'll have to find out if there is one of these, but there's a lot of things that they can help with. And one of the things that I think of the most when I think of them is they can help with grants where you can go in and update the facade of your building or, just lots of things like that. So, if you have a shop, especially if it's in a historic district, you can get money to improve the appearance of your building. That is a great resource for that. They also are going to do things like they'll put on events throughout the year. Their job is to bring business into that downtown area and get people to spend money there. So if you are in a downtown area, like the old timey Main Street kind of area, then definitely check out your downtown development district.
I'm going to throw in a couple of things here when talking about them. Is I've heard local businesses here in our city say, I had no idea that was even going on. Well, it's almost like the chamber and I refer to as the gym membership. You have to be involved to see a benefit, or, you can't just join the gym and not go to the gym. Same thing with your local downtown development district. Reach out, let them know that you're there, whether you're going to join the committee or get on the board, but just make sure that they know that you've opened a business there. It's partly their job to know that, but what's it going to hurt for you to reach out? Because you may see that they're hosting these events and you may think, what's an automotive repair shop going to have to do with that? Trust me, events for shops is a whole thing that I'm obsessed with. But like in our town, we have something called Hot August Night. Yes, literally in Louisiana in August, they hold an event. Now they've turned it into the whole day.
And it is hot.
And it is
in August.
But everybody in the downtown is involved in it. We bring a lot of people to downtown. And even though you might be closed on Friday night, open it up and make your space a warm, welcoming space to come in to that event. So again, you may look at the event and think that has nothing to do with automotive repair. No, but it has everything to do with small business and you introducing your business to the people in the area. For that event, they usually have like a wine stroll or a beer stroll or something like that. And people check in to this one central place. They get this fancy glass or beer mug, and then they go around to the different places. And anyway, there's all kinds of different things they do with the events. Just don't discredit that and think it doesn't apply to you. It absolutely applies to you.
You'll initially think, that's only going to apply to like the restaurants and the entertainment venues and that kind of thing. Get creative and reach out to the local car club and invite them to bring their old cars and set them up in your parking lot. Open up the bays, put a couple of cars on some lifts and allow people, to come in. Anytime that you can get people into your shop, whether they're a client or not, or whether they're there for auto repair or not, introducing them to your business is a great thing to do for marketing.
Time to thank our friends at Repair Pal for making this episode possible. Don't get left behind. Today's tech-savvy consumers value instant gratification, so they start their searches for a repair shop on their computers and smartphones. These power users research auto repair and service options and decide which shops to engage with in an instant. Gain these customers by being Repair Pal certified. They provide proof that your prices are fair with their best-in-class estimator. They're the largest site for auto repair, and they will introduce your shop to new customers through RepairPal.com and through the recommendation of partners like USAA, CarMax, and Consumer Reports. As shop owners, we were in the Repair Pal certified network, and it helped grow our business. You have to be in it to win it, so head on over to RepairPal.com/shops and set up a call to learn more. When you sign up, you'll get 1 month of service free and save $150 off certification. That's RepairPal.com/shops.
So the next one that I'm going to talk about is, it's not necessarily a local organization, but it's a thing called Goldman Sachs 10KSB. And some of you may be familiar with this because I have met some shop owners who have been through the program. It's a nationwide thing. Everybody here has heard of Goldman Sachs. 10KSB stands for 10,000 small businesses. The idea behind it is that it's almost like they take small business owners and put them through a mini MBA program, because so many small business owners, they have no formal training. They don't know how to read financial statements. They don't know how to create a business plan. They don't know how to get funding if they need it. They don't know how to make decisions in their business. And in 10KSB, it's about a 3-month commitment, and they will teach you all of these things. They will make you a better business person. And you will create a growth plan while you are in that 10KSB program. And it's a written growth plan that you can take then to a bank if you need funding. If you don't need funding, you have a written plan now for how you're going to grow your business. And the other thing that's really valuable inside of 10KSB is the relationships that you create, because you're in there with what they call your cohort. It was probably 30 or 40 people in my cohort when I was in it. you build relationships with those people, and, there are, mentoring aspects and everything that come along with it. It's a great program and it's free. You do have to apply to be part of it. And there are some revenue requirements and everything on it to be able to get into it. It was a great program. They originally did it and they set out to help 10,000 small businesses. They're way beyond 10,000 small businesses at this point, and they just keep going. So check out Goldman Sachs 10KSB. Kim, I know you weren't actually in the program, but you got to witness me go through it. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Not only did I get to witness Brian go through it, they used us as speakers when they got to the marketing section. So I had that experience with meeting the attendees, several years in a row, actually, where I went and I don't know, did you go teach for them too? Okay.
I did.
So, I just left with a really good, positive feeling about it. And then most recently, I've seen some of our shop owner friends on Facebook posting their graduation picture. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool that they did that. But it's nice to meet the other business owners, but also just get a different perspective. It's almost like, maybe you said this, I feel like I've heard you say this before, it's almost like a little miniature baby MBA on business. So if you've never, you didn't go to college for business or you didn't get a master's in business, you kind of get your own abbreviated but highly impactful version of it.
Yep. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is what they call startup accelerators. A startup accelerator is basically like what Kim was talking about at the SBDC with the incubator, but these are, all that they do is they help people get their business started up and accelerate the growth of that business quickly. So this is going to be much more applicable to that new shop that is opening. Yeah, think of the one here. There's actually several of them in the New Orleans area, but the one that I always think of is called the Idea Village. And they have all kinds of events and everything where you can go learn different things about running a business and kind of have your hand held as you're doing it. So we talked a lot about that during the SBDC, but some SBDCs have that incubator or accelerator program with them. Some of them don't. And then you have the individual startup accelerators. So you can find them kind of together or separately. And then the last one that I want to talk about is your local government itself. We are incredibly blessed in our area to have a local government and a parish president. I don't know if counties call theirs presidents or what, but basically the top guy in our parish.
Some call him county commissioner, maybe.
Yeah. So he's the top guy in our parish, and he was a business owner, still is a business owner. One of the things that he wanted to do when he decided to run for parish president was to make it incredibly easy for people to do business in our parish. And he spoke today at the TEDF event, and he kept saying something that I think is a kind of a new initiative in the parish. And it was all about helping people to get to a yes, and a good yes. So people tend to, when they think of government, they tend to think of government as evil. And, when we start getting into big national government and all of that, well, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. But, when it comes to your local government, there are some of you who are, you have local governments that you just don't want to deal with. And I completely understand that. And then there are some of you that may have a great local government that you can deal with, and you know that. And then there are some of you that have a great local government that you get to deal with, but you have taken other people's word for what it's like working with that government and never experienced it for yourself. And you think that working with them is going to be, this like teeth pulling experience. What I would say would be to find out yourself, go in there with the best in mind, ask them to help you to get to a yes. Because these local governments, they're not all bad. They don't all have to be bad. And there's a lot that they can do for you and for your business. Kim, do you have anything else to say about that?
No, I thought that I was going to have a lot to say about that, but you really said it. Kind of the same thing as the DDD. comment, which is go get yourself involved, which you talked about as well. We had the pleasure of already knowing and being involved because we're really close friends with the parish president, and we helped him with his campaign to get elected. And we knew by default the opportunities and the ways to get involved on that level with the parish government and what they had to offer. I would just say, just put yourself out there. You just got to do it. Go see what's available. You may be surprised to learn what programs are available or what's going on in your community, how you can bring some experience or knowledge to the table. For example, with us, we travel all the time, and our parish is always working to grow and improve and be better. And he was talking today about having a great quality of life so that your kids want to stay here. And so there have been times where we've been asked, you're on the road all the time. What are you seeing in other communities? What are other places doing? And it was an easy way for us to give back to our community by just sharing information. So get out there, get involved, get connected. I hate the excuse of, well, I'm an introvert and I'm just not good talking to people. That is an excuse. You can get over it. You can find your comfort zone. You can find your wall to lean up against in some meeting. But once you get out there and you start going, you'll start seeing that there are other business owners that feel the same way. You partner up with them, and before you know it, you will learn to enjoy getting involved and attending these things and getting known. It was refreshing to me today because when we switched from being a local marketing agency to servicing only automotive repair shops, it kind of pulled us out of our local community. And we're gone so often that when these events pop up, I'm like, oh, well, I'm out of town. I'm going to miss that one too. But today this one popped up, and this was Brian's world, really, not mine. I wasn't involved personally in TEDF except for by extension of him. I was involved in all the other things, and I just knew that my local friends would be there. And so walked in and often feel kind of forgotten, but just got to see some friends that I really do care about, and was reminded that they really do care as well, because they were very genuine in, I'm so glad you're here. I haven't seen you in so long. And several people came over and like, I just got to touch you because you're here. And so it's just really nice to be involved. So I would say you start with like your Chamber of Commerce. It's at the Chamber of Commerce that connects you to all the other business organizations, because all these other organizations rely on the chamber. So if you're like, I don't know if I have any of those things in my community, call your chamber. They'll tell you.
Yep. And don't overlook the value also of just being involved altogether. When I first started, I was not involved in anything. We opened our agency, like Kim said, at the Small Business Development Center. And that was the thing that kind of opened the door for me, as well as Kim. Now, Kim is just a natural networker. They call her the Queen of Connections. That's who she is. She would have gotten there no matter what. But being involved in the Small Business Development Center and then eventually teaching for the Small Business Development Center, it led to a lot of doors opening. It led to us getting to meet and to become friends with a lot of people. In my case, if I needed something from a local government standpoint, I can go directly to the highest level there. From a parish standpoint, I am personal friends with the parish president. From a city standpoint, I am personal friends with the mayor. And like these things happened because of the involvement that we've had. And like Kim has been way more involved than I have. But, I've still been involved in things like TEDF. There's a program called Leadership Tangipahoa. Tangipahoa is the name of our parish. And during Leadership Tangipahoa, one day per month for 1 year, you go out and you visit and learn about various things that are in your community. And I met so many people through that, and I learned so much about how our local government worked. Having those connections like that can open doors for you. Just simple things like when we were building our house out here, if I needed something, with the building inspector, I wasn't just another person. I was someone that he knew. And not only was I someone that he knew, but I'm someone who was personal friends with his boss. There's just a lot of advantages that come along with that. So when you can get involved in these organizations like that in your community and get to know these people, it opens a lot of doors for you. So I know this was a little bit of a different episode. I hope that there, were some good takeaways here for you. I guarantee you, if you actually, go do some of these things that we're talking about, get involved with these organizations, then it was definitely worth your time to listen to. We are just one of a handful of podcasts on the Aftermarket Radio Network. You can find the rest at aftermarketradionetwork.com. I want to thank Repair Pal again for sponsoring this episode. Thank you for listening. Hope that you'll listen in again next week. Until then, go fill those bays.
You've been listening to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Kim and Brian Walker. Follow the podcast on your favorite listening app. Find their emails in the show notes and visit them at shopmarketingpros.com. Let Kim and Brian know what you want discussed, because they're all about advancing the aftermarket.